Welcome back to our shared sanctuary in the shadows. Tonight, we are leaving the cold, rushing city behind to visit a hidden clockmaker's workshop, a place where the heavy gears of your mind can finally find peace. Before we step out of the fog and open the heavy oak door, please take a soft, deep breath. Subscribe to join our quiet community, leave your daily stress in the comments below, and let the outside world fade away. Close your tired eyes and let the journey begin. The fog rolls through the narrow cobblestone streets, thick and heavy, swallowing the frantic energy of the city. You are walking fast, your head down, trying to escape the endless demands of the day. The cold dampness seeps into your coat, but the real chill comes from the pressure in your chest. You are running from time, constantly feeling like you are hours behind, chasing seconds that slip through your fingers like cold water. Every face you pass is a blur of anxiety. The towering iron lampposts cast long, distorted shadows that seem to point you toward a darker, quieter path. You turn away from the main avenue, stepping into a narrow alleyway where the dense fog muffles the outside world. The chaotic rhythm of the city begins to fade into a distant memory. Here the air is still. At the very end of the alley, partially hidden by the mist, stands a shop with windows made of thick, frosted glass. There is no bright sign, only a heavy oak door with a brass handle polished smooth by decades of use. Above the frame, a simple tarnished metal plaque bears a single word, barely visible in the gloom. You reach out, your fingers cold against the brass, and push the door open. You are immediately hit by a wave of profound, enveloping warmth. The air inside is entirely different from the damp chill of the street. It is thick, rich, and ancient. It smells of polished cedar wood, metallic oil, dried parchment, and the faint, sweet smoke of a dying candle. It is the scent of a place where time is not a cruel taskmaster, but a gentle, respected friend. You step inside, closing the heavy door behind you, effectively sealing away the gray world outside. The workshop is a labyrinth of shadows and golden light. Every inch of the dark wooden walls is covered in clocks of all shapes and sizes. Pocket watches with open faces lie on velvet trays, and grand wooden pillars hold mechanisms of impossible complexity. Yet there is no chaos. The swinging of the pendulums creates a visual hypnosis, an orchestrated dance of brass and silver. Behind a massive, worn workbench sits the master craftsman. He is an older man, his face lined with the kind of wisdom that only comes from decades of solitary focus. A small, jeweled loop rests over his right eye, catching the amber light of the single oil lamp on his desk. He does not look surprised to see you. It is as if he knew you were coming, guided by the unseen gears of fate. He raises his head, removing the loop. His eyes are calm, carrying the depth of a still, dark lake. He gestures slowly toward a large, high-backed chair upholstered in worn burgundy velvet. It sits right beside his workbench, inviting and solid. He speaks, his voice a low, gravelly vibration that instantly settles the nervous fluttering in your stomach. "You have been running against the rotation of the earth," he murmurs, his tone entirely free of judgment. "You carry the weight of 1,000 rushed moments in your shoulders. So, the hour has finally arrived for you to stop." You approach the chair. As you sit, you sink deeply into the velvet. It holds you with a firm, comforting embrace, supporting your tired spine. The frantic beating of your heart feels out of place in this sanctuary of measured precision. You reach into your pocket, your fingers brushing against a cold, broken pocket watch you have carried for years, a heavy, silent burden that you never knew how to fix. You place the broken watch onto the edge of his wooden desk. The metal is dull, the hands frozen in a forgotten past. The craftsman looks at it, then looks at you. He nods slowly, a silent promise that everything broken can be set right again. He picks up the broken timepiece from the wood, his movements deliberate, unhurried, and full of grace. The healing of the mechanism and the mending of your mind is about to begin. The craftsman sets the watch down on a piece of dark silk. The sudden absence of its motion leaves a heavy velvet silence in the room. He turns his gaze toward you, his eyes reflecting the soft amber glow of the oil lamps. He doesn't speak yet. He simply reaches for a small leather-bound box on the edge of the workbench. He opens the lid with a slow movement, letting it rest gently against the dark wood of his desk. Inside lies a collection of tuning forks, each carved from a different dull metal, varying in length and weight. He selects one, the longest, darkest of them all. He strikes it against the palm of his hand. There is no sharp noise, only a deep, subterranean hum that begins to ripple through the floorboards. You feel the resonance climbing up through the legs of your chair, settling in the marrow of your bones. It isn't a sound you hear with your ears, it's a frequency that demands your entire body to surrender its tension. The vibration is steady and unwavering, creating a bridge between your heartbeat and the stillness of the room. You find yourself matching your breath to the invisible pulse of the metal. The gears must align with the soul, he says, his voice barely a breath, merging with the resonance. If the mind is chaotic, the machine will eventually shatter under the pressure of its own movement. To fix the time, one must first learn to stand outside of it. He begins to move around you in slow, deliberate circles. The floorboards shift under his weight, marking the passage of time more accurately than any mechanical device. He places a heavy, cool hand on your shoulder. The weight is grounding, a physical anchor pulling you out of the storm of your daily thoughts and anxieties. His touch is firm but kind, a reminder that you are present in this moment and nowhere else. From the shadows of the corner, a copper kettle begins to release a low, morning sigh of steam. He moves away from you to pour the water into a ceramic bowl. He adds dried lavender, aged cedar shavings, and a pinch of unknown herbs to the heat. The scent rises immediately, thick and earthy, wrapping around you like a heavy blanket. As you breathe it in, the edges of the room begin to blur. The ticking clocks in the background don't feel like rigid machines anymore. They feel like distant footsteps walking away from you, leaving you in a sanctuary where the world's demands cannot reach. The air feels dense, almost liquid, as the herbal aroma fills every corner of your lungs. He returns to his stool, but he does not pick up his tools. Instead, he simply watches you, his presence a calm shadow in the flickering lamplight. He begins to describe the history of the materials on his desk, the ancient brass from sunken ships, the rubies mined from forgotten caves, and the oil pressed from flowers that only bloom in the moonlight. His voice is a low, rhythmic drone that lulls your consciousness into a state of pure observation. You notice the way the light catches the dust motes dancing in the air, each one moving in its own slow, chaotic orbit. The world outside the workshop, the noise, the deadlines, the faces of people you know, feels like a dream you had a long time ago. Here, in this pocket of eternity, the only thing that exists is the warmth of the lamp and the steady guiding hand of the master. Time is not a line, he whispers, leaning closer until his shadow merges with yours on the workshop wall. It is a vast ocean. Most people struggle to swim against the current, exhausting themselves until they sink. But you are learning to float. He takes a small silken cloth and begins to polish a silver plate, his movements slow and hypnotic. The friction creates a faint warmth that you can almost feel from across the table. Every gesture is an act of meditation, a testament to the beauty of focus and the power of being entirely present. He stops his work and looks at the large grandfather clock in the corner. Its pendulum swings with a grand, sweeping motion, carving the air with silent authority. He leans in close to your ear, his breath a warm ghost against your skin. "Close your eyes," he commands softly. The second hand has stopped. The world has forgotten to turn for a moment. For now there is only this breath, and the next, and the silence that follows. You obey, and as your eyelids fall, the golden light of the lamps remains burned into your vision for a few seconds before fading into a deep, peaceful darkness. The world dissolves into the scent of cedar and the fading, ghostly vibration of the metal, leaving you suspended in a perfect, weightless void. The silence deepens, stretching out like an endless horizon. You are no longer waiting for the next sound. You are simply existing within the space between moments, where the weight of your life has finally been set down. The darkness behind your closed eyes is not empty. It is a vast, echoing space where the scent of cedar becomes a physical path you can follow. The craftsman remains silent for a long time, allowing the stillness to settle into your skin like fine dust. You can feel his presence moving slowly, a shifting weight in the air that tells you he is preparing something on the far side of the workbench. He begins to handle a series of small wooden cylinders. There is no clatter, only the soft, muffled sensation of objects being placed on a thick wool felt. Each movement is deliberate, calculated to maintain the fragile peace that has filled the workshop. He speaks again, his voice now a deep, resonant hum that seems to originate from the very walls of the room, vibrating through the back of your chair and into your spine. Most people believe memories are stored in the mind, he whispers, leaning close enough that you can feel the faint warmth of his shadow. But they are wrong. Memories are stored in the hands, in the objects we touch, and in the rhythm of our breathing. This workshop does not just repair clocks. It realigns the fragments of the years you have lost to the noise of the world. You hear the slow, rhythmic turning of a heavy velvet scroll. The fabric makes a soft, sliding sound against the wood, a sound of hidden things being revealed. He describes the texture of the velvet, how it was woven and dyed with the essence of midnight flowers. As he speaks, you can almost feel the plush fibers beneath your own fingertips, though your hands remain resting perfectly still on the arms of your chair. Imagine your worries as grains of salt, he continues, his pace slowing even further. Imagine them dissolving in a vast, dark lake. The water is cool, the surface is like glass, and you are sinking slowly, not out of fear, but out of a desire for the deep quiet at the bottom. The deeper you go, the lighter you feel. The pressure of the world is being replaced by the gentle embrace of the void. He begins to use a soft, wide brush to sweep the surface of the workbench. There is no harsh scraping, only the consistent rhythmic whisper of natural bristles moving across the grain of the ancient oak. The sound is like the wind moving through a field of dry grass at dusk. It is a cleansing sound, a ritualistic clearing of the space between you and the master craftsman. "We are reaching the center of the mechanism now," he breathes. He reaches out and adjusts the collar of your garment, his fingers never touching your skin, yet you can feel the air move as he works. The care in his movements is absolute. He treats your presence as the most delicate instrument in the room, a glass clock that could shatter if the silence were broken too abruptly. He picks up a small hollow bone flute, but he does not blow into it. Instead, he draws it through the air, creating a faint, ghostly whistle that sounds like a distant memory of a storm. He tells you of the mountain where the bone was found, a place where time stands still. His words are like stones dropped into a deep well, long, echoing, and full of weight. "Can you feel the weight of your own hands?" he asks. "They are heavy like lead. They are sinking into the velvet. Your shoulders are dropping, falling away from your neck. The tension you carried when you walked through that door has become a phantom, a ghost that no longer has a home within you." He moves behind you once more. You feel the faint pressure of his breath against the crown of your head. He begins to recite a list of forgotten names. Names of stars that have gone dark, names of cities buried under the sand. Each name is a slow, melodic vibration that lulls your consciousness further away from the physical world. "The door is locked," he says softly. "The windows are shuttered against the dawn. There is no morning here, only the eternal twilight of the craft. You are safe in the hands of the one who knows how to mend the broken seconds of your life. Do not try to move. Do not try to think. Simply exist in the space I have carved for you. Sleep now within the waking dream," he whispers. "The work is nearly finished and the silence is finally complete. The workshop has drifted into a state of absolute equilibrium. The master craftsman stands behind you, his presence a steady, warm shadow that seems to expand and contract with your own breathing. He reaches out and gently adjusts the position of your head, using only the lightest pressure from his fingertips against your temples. The touch is cooler than the surrounding air, acting as a focal point for the stillness spreading through your mind. He moves back to the workbench and picks up a small vial of thick, golden oil. He does not pour it. Instead, he allows a single drop to fall onto a polished piece of obsidian. You can sense the viscosity of the liquid as it spreads across the stone, a silent movement that speaks of centuries of patience. He describes the oil's origin. Extracted from a flower that only opens during a solar eclipse, in a valley the sun has forgotten. "We are moving beyond the gears now," he whispers, his voice a velvety rasp that resonates in the hollow of your throat. "The physical metal is merely a cage for the true essence of time. To mend the clock, we must first mend the way you perceive the passing of the seconds. Feel the weight of your eyelids. They are like heavy velvet curtains, shielding you from a world that no longer exists." He picks up a fine silk cloth and begins to rub it against a brass plate. The movement is slow, rhythmic, and entirely silent, yet you can feel the warmth generated by the friction from across the room. It is a radiant heat, a soft glow that matches the steady pulse in your fingertips. He describes the way the brass begins to shine, turning from a tarnished brown into a mirror reflecting only the absolute present. Your thoughts are like the dust we cleared earlier, he continues, moving his hand in a slow arc above your head. They have no weight. They have no power here. Imagine them as white birds flying away into a gray sky, smaller and smaller, until they vanish into the mist. There is nothing left but the sensation of the air against your skin and the steady, guiding resonance of my voice. He begins to sort through a collection of small crystal spheres. He places them in a circular pattern around the central watch on his desk. Each crystal catches the dim lamplight, fracturing it into 1,000 tiny sparks that dance behind your closed eyelids. He tells you that each sphere contains a captured moment of perfect silence. One from a snowy forest, one from a desert at midnight, and one from a forgotten library. Listen to the space between my words. He breathes, leaning so close that you can feel the slight vibration of his chest against your chair. That is where the healing happens. In the gaps. In the pauses. In the moments where nothing is required of you. You are a vessel being emptied of the old, cluttered hours to make room for the new, crystalline seconds. He takes a long, slender feather and begins to trace the air around your shoulders. You can feel the minute displacement of the atmosphere, a ghostly caress that makes the fine hairs on your arms stand up. It is a boundary he is drawing, a circle of protection that keeps the chaos of the outside world at bay. The grandfather clock has stopped swinging, he notes, and the rhythmic pulse of the room has shifted into a singular, unwavering hum. The universe is holding its breath for you. Can you feel the lightness in your chest? Your heart beats because it is dancing with the silence. You are becoming translucent, like the glass of a clock face, clear and undisturbed. He reaches for a small silver key and holds it to the light. He does not use it on a lock. Instead, he turns it in the air, a symbolic gesture of opening a door closed for a lifetime. He speaks of what lies beyond, a garden of silver trees where time is measured by the falling of petals rather than the ticking of hands. You are the master of this internal landscape, he whispers, his voice fading into a thread of sound. I am merely the one who holds the lamp while you explore your own tranquility. Stay here. Let the golden oil of this moment coat every thought until they are smooth and silent. He moves away, leaving you suspended in a warm amber void where the only thing that remains is the perfect, beautiful weight of your own existence. The craftsman has moved to the high windows, his silhouette barely visible against the fading amber light. He pulls a heavy, dark velvet cord, and the curtains slide shut with a slow, sweeping motion that seems to swallow the last remnants of the outside world. The room is now lit only by a single steady candle flame on the workbench, its light flickering like a distant star in a vast, dark galaxy. He returns to his position beside you, but he does not sit. Instead, he begins to unwind a long strand of pure silk thread from a silver spool. He describes the thread's texture, finer than a spider's web, stronger than steel, and cool to the touch. He begins to move his hands in the air above you, weaving an invisible pattern that mimics the slow, rhythmic expansion of your lungs. Every breath you take is a thread in the tapestry of this moment, he murmurs, his voice a low, gravelly vibration that feels like it is coming from the ground beneath your feet. Most people pull their threads too tight, snapping the connection to the present. But here we let the silk remain slack. We let the moments hang loose, unburdened by the weight of expectation or the ghost of yesterday. He takes a small hollow silver tube and places it near the candle flame. He doesn't blow through it. He simply lets the rising heat create a faint, melodic shimmer in the air. He speaks of the ancient mountains where the silver was forged, a place where the wind speaks in a language that only the heart can understand. As he talks, you feel your consciousness drifting further away from the physical confines of the chair. Your limbs have become like the roots of an ancient cedar, he continues, his hand hovering just inches above your brow. They are deep in the earth, cool and undisturbed by the storms on the surface. Your mind is the canopy, wide and open, catching the starlight in its branches. There is no effort in being. There is only the natural, effortless flow of the universe through you. He picks up a small, polished stone, a piece of moonstone that glows with an inner, milky light. He holds it close to your closed eyes, describing its surface as a frozen lake in the middle of winter. He tells you to imagine stepping onto that ice, feeling the absolute stillness beneath your feet. The air is cold and crisp, and every breath you take is clean, filling you with a sense of crystalline clarity. The clocks have all surrendered now, he notes, and indeed, the very air in the workshop feels thicker, more stagnant, as if time itself has turned into honey. They no longer mark the passing of hours. They only mark the depth of your peace. Can you feel the space behind your ears loosening? The way your jaw has forgotten how to hold tension? You are becoming the silence that we have been cultivating since you arrived. He begins to handle a set of small porcelain weights. He places them on a scale, one by one, each movement a masterpiece of precision and quietude. He tells you that these are the weights of your remaining responsibilities, and as he places them on the scale, they become lighter and lighter until they weigh nothing at all. The scale balances perfectly, a symbol of the total harmony you have achieved within this sanctuary. You are a clock that has been perfectly calibrated, he breathes, leaning in until his voice is a mere wisp of sound against the side of your neck. Your internal rhythm is now synchronized with the slow rotation of the earth. There is no hurry. There is no destination. There is only the beauty of the mechanism functioning in total, unhurried grace. He reaches for a small wooden bowl filled with cool water and places it on the desk. He describes the reflection of the candle flame in the water, a tiny dancing spark in a sea of darkness. He tells you that your mind is like that water, clear, calm, and reflecting only the light that you choose to let in. Every ripple has smoothed out, leaving a surface that is as perfect as a mirror. Stay in this reflection, he commands softly. Let the outside world remain a faded memory, a book that has been closed and placed on a high shelf. In this room, in this breath, you are infinite. You are the master of the silent second, the one who knows that the most powerful movement is the one that happens in total stillness. He moves away again, his shadow merging with the dark velvet of the curtains. The candle flame burns steady and true, casting long, peaceful shadows across the floorboards. You are suspended in a state of pure being, a golden moment that has no end and no beginning. The candle flame remains a steady, singular point of light in the vast velvet darkness of the workshop. You are no longer just a visitor sitting in a chair. You have become part of the stillness itself. The craftsman moves with a grace that defies the passage of hours, his shadow blending seamlessly with the dark wood of the walls. He picks up a small, crystal decanter and pours a single drop of clear, cool essence into the palm of his hand. He approaches you, and the scent of white lotus and rain-washed stone fills the small space between you. He rubs his hands together, a soft, rhythmic friction that generates a gentle warmth. He then holds them near your face, allowing the heat and the scent to act as a bridge back to the world of the living. The recalibration is complete, he whispers, his voice now so soft it feels like a thought within your own mind. The discord of the outside world has been washed away from your gears. You are now a clock that keeps its own time, undisturbed by the storms of others. Can you feel the clarity in your chest? The way your heart beats with the precision of a mountain's pulse. He begins to move toward the heavy velvet curtains he closed earlier. He does not pull them open yet. Instead, he places his hand against the fabric, feeling the weight of the night outside. He speaks of the world waiting for you, not as a place of stress and noise, but as a vast, beautiful machine that is waiting for your unique rhythm to join its dance. The sun will rise soon, he continues, his back to you, but you will carry this twilight within you. Whenever the noise becomes too loud, simply close your eyes and listen for the phantom tick of the master watch. You will find this room again exactly as we left it. The cedar, the oil, the amber light, they are all permanent fixtures in the architecture of your soul. He slowly pulls the cord. The curtains part with a long, hushed movement, revealing a sky of deep indigo and the first faint silver of the dawn. The light is not harsh, it is a gentle invitation. He turns to you one last time, his eyes filled with a quiet, ancient wisdom. He reaches out and mimes the action of winding a key behind your ear, a symbolic gesture that locks this piece into your very being. He turns his attention to the unseen companions watching from the shadows of the digital void. Our journey for this night ends here, he says, his voice a warm, grounding drone. If this sanctuary has served you, if these echoes have helped mend your spirit, then our work is truly done. Please, leave your mark of presence in the comments below, like a stone in a Zen garden, and subscribe to our shared silence so we may find each other again when the clocks go astray. He takes the silver bell from the table and gives it a single muted strike with a felt mallet. The sound is a low humming vibration that seems to clear the remaining mist from the room. Thank you for trusting the master's hand, he breathes. Support the workshop, share this piece with those who are weary, and remember that time is a gift you now know how to open. He leans over the final candle. Close your eyes now, he commands with a smile in his voice. The world is waiting, but for this final moment, there is only the dark. 3, 2, 1. He blows out the flame. The smoke rises in a thin, fragrant line toward the ceiling. The workshop is gone, replaced by the soft, heavy weight of your blankets and the rhythmic sound of your own breathing. You are home. You are mended. You are at peace. Sleep now. Good night.